Welcome to AMA. I am your host, Lea Love, and I am your One World by Night marketing subcord for Garou and the Ohio Valley region. Tonight, it is my absolute pleasure to bring you my own HST, Stephen H. He is the head storyteller of the Columbus Garou game, Wyld Prophets. Welcome, Stephen.
What's up?
This is going to be a very interesting interview. Tonight is our third.
Mostly depends on the questions, doesn't it?
Yeah. Tonight is my third part series, the last part entitled BaneKlaive of the Grand Elysium BaneKlaive event of 2014. 2 weeks ago, we hosted the Ohio Knights Sabat, Jacob McCoy. Last week, we had Josh Hines of CID, and then, of course, tonight is Stephen. How long has BaneKlaive been around?
Oh, God. 5, 6 years, I think. It feels like close to a decade. I don't think it's been that long.
No, I haven't been a part of it.
We started 2 games before the last game that One World by Night was at Origins. So, you know, if you're better at math than I am, then it comes out to like 5 years, I think.
Okay. And then how long have you been a storyteller on the Wyld Prophets staff?
Since the game's inception, so about 5 years now, 6 years.
Have you been the head storyteller this entire time?
No. I started out as one of the original ASTs. I took over as HST when about half the staff stepped out at the same time for reasons of half our staff lives 200 miles away from our game. We suddenly realized that was madness.
You may hear some noises, people giggling, phones going off. We are on location here at Stephen H's home and in front of a live television audience. So I'm very happy to be bringing you this special edition right now and to have so many people viewing.
It's a nicely appointed bunker.
It very much is. I love the china behind us.
Makes me look way more human than I normally appear. I normally look a little rough around the edges.
I think you're perfectly pleasant.
Have you been drinking? Perfectly pleasant. Who are you talking about?
I am a bit of a macabre person, and
well, there goes my reputation.
Yes.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So you mentioned that half the storyteller staff lived 200 miles away. Who was it that stepped down?
That would be Chris Banco, Casey Aikenbanco, and Matt Hirth.
And they were the original storytellers?
Yeah, we had a staff that consisted of those 3 and myself originally. Then we had Christopher Simone on staff for a while, and then he had basically a lot of scheduling conflicts. He's pursuing a much loftier degree than I ever pursued. So.
And right now he is in Guatemala. Hello, Chris. We miss you. We can't wait till you come back.
Don't drink the water.
Yeah, don't drink the water. I think he's gotten to the water because he's had enough of corn. Apparently, corn is just the thing down there.
I respect that.
So let's get back to the event because that's why we are here.
Sure.
The event runs the 3rd through the 6th. Is that correct?
Yes. The Wednesday we don't actually do very much. The Wednesday and Thursday, we're not really doing anything game-wise. We're actually, at that point, we're still checking sheets and reading people's item cards and attempting to figure out how many of us are going to have the flu, or we'll suddenly decide that
the flu.
Yeah, the flew out my hotel window.
Yeah.
And then, drinking heavily in preparation for how absolutely seriously I take this game.
You do take it very seriously. You're very devoted to your players.
Yeah. I'm very committed, or should be committed.
So, our game, the Wyld Prophets BaneKlaive event, is going to start on Friday. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then it will run through Sunday.
That is correct. Sunday is kind of a normal Wyld Prophets game. That would be a normal scheduled game anyway. We run the 1st and 3rd Sundays of the month. So it's basically Wyld Prophets with sometimes more guests than usual.
And for those that missed the first 2 parts, how much is admission to the event?
It's 45, I think. Is that what it was?
35.
35, 35, 45. I you know what? It's a number they write through my brain.
As Josh Hines said, it's 35 up through the 30th, and then starting the first up through the door, it is $40 with $20 for Saturday Pass only. Your game is kind of a quiet game. It's a conservative game. Would you say that's correct?
That's what they tell me. They tell me that I run a conservative game, which, yeah, I don't really take that as an insult or anything. We try to keep the challenges and the items and the powers that are on sheets somewhat more in line with the books and a little less arms racy.
How do you feel about your characters that may be more conservative, don't have a lot of items to their name or, celestial powers as a foster? How do you prepare them for national stage?
I tell them to duck, mostly. There's really, other than telling them to practice their chops and roleplay as much as possible, there's really no way to tell a player, here's how you deal with a power disparity. I know some players who visit for multiple games actually have multiple iterations of an item card, which, the version that works in Wyld Prophets and the version that works when they're out in the wild, where they may need 65 traits on a physical challenge, and we may not need you to have 65 traits as a foster. That doesn't seem like something that a foster should be doing. At least it doesn't seem like it to me. I'm not really sure it's something an elder should be doing.
So, going off that, because we have a lot of visitors coming.
Hi, visitors.
Yes, we love you. We are so happy that you will be coming to this great event. When is your red pen party?
We don't actually really have a red pen party. We do have we may have a reputation for taking paper cutters to people's sheets, but it's not really that bad. Generally, that sort of the sheet review process starts on Wednesday, goes through Thursday, which is really why we need the 2 days to take care of it. Because sometimes we get blitzed with things that we just were not expecting. There's a lot of the fun. Wait, which edition? Which edition is this totem from? What is Black Tiger? What is a Black Tiger totem? Is that homebrew? I have no idea what I'm looking at. And a lot of stuff actually just ends up staying on the character sheets. I'm not going to tell you that your foster can't have your Celestian basic gift. If your STs put it on your sheet, they obviously had a good reason. I'm not going to come to their game and tell them that they're stupid and wrong and they should put things on your sheet. I'm probably, there's a few things I react badly to. Martial arts is one of them.
Why martial arts?
Martial arts is not a werewolf ability. It's an ability that is meant for a book that is lovingly nicknamed in parts of Ohio, Hustle of the East, Lost to Hustle, Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah.
It just has a lot of abilities attached to it that puts it on a disparate power level with normal abilities. Brawl doesn't have, Brawl 3 does not allow you to Hadouken. It's just, Brawl 3 lets you retest it again. Brawl 3 lets you retest 3 times. That's what Brawl does.
But what about the Iskaku? That is specifically a martial arts for the guy.
That's kind of on White Wolf's plate. White Wolf elected to only translate one of the 4 or 5 changing breed specific martial arts. The Werecats have one. There's Claviskar. There's Child of Gaia hit you in the stick and make you dizzy Kung Fu. There's a lot of these, and oddly enough, they only bothered to translate Iskaku and MET mechanics. A lot of them, like Claviskar, just don't work as written in a large setting because they involve a lot of splitting your dice pools and strange things that don't work with the trait system. So really, if it doesn't have an MET write-up, I'm not terribly interested in seeing it.
Okay.
And if the org gets together and goes, okay, here's the Claviskar packet, then by all means, put Claviskar on the sheet. I'm perfectly comfortable letting people have Claviscar. There are players based on my game that have Claviscar. It doesn't do anything in particular other than be a melee retest for the specific occasion if I'm using a clave. It's really what it's for.
I understand. Now, you mentioned item cards and that some people have iterations of item cards. This is a question from one of the viewers. What is the worst item card that you have ever seen? Be specific.
A specific item card that I think is the worst I've ever seen. Wow, that's a hard one.
Are there so many?
You know, they all kind of blur together. There was a lever-action katana gunblade that caused you to have Final Fantasy-style special effects when you attack.
Was this a Glasswalker thing?
Yeah, that was a Glasswalker.
Do you want to name whose special little weapon this is?
You know, if you don't think it'll kick up a shitstorm, yeah, I can name names. Like that was Silas.
Ah, Mr. Silas Addison.
He was very, 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 very sad that I wouldn't stamp that item card. He was actually very, very heartbroken. He wanted to let it break in my game really badly, and I wouldn't let him let it break, and he wanted to let it break, and we went back and forth for a good 15 minutes before I told him he could have his magic pistols, but the katana has to go home. Just send the katana home. I don't even want to.
You can't look at it.
It's a gunblade and werewolf. I don't really feel like I need to say anything beyond that.
So speaking of gunblades, there's another question that somebody asked.
Oh yeah.
Claves with the spray ability.
Who put you up for this?
That would be Mr. Hayden.
Who bought you? This Hayden?
Hayden.
I look forward to hearing about your next character concept, Hayden. You know what? I really feel that Claves with the spray ability bring an interesting dimension to role-playing in it. I've met the player of the Clave.
Oh!
Cuts without looking. Great character concept. Gets by really well having absolutely only, what was it, 4 traits?
I think so.
Yeah, and, not many role players are comfortable with having another person pick them up by their spine and wave them around like a flag at games, but gotta hand it to our friend the BaneKlaive.
There you go.
Top-notch role playing.
There you go, BaneKlaive. So for all of them, all of you out there who was wondering what kind of ridiculous things we've seen in our game, those are mostly from visitors, though.
I'm actually fairly certain BaneKlaive has never actually signed into my game.
What would happen if you did?
I'm told that the Clave doesn't actually have the spray ability. It just has the ability to, through some mysterious, mystical process, hit more than one target at once. Frankly, if they want to bring a spray Clave to my game, feel free. I fully hope that the rest of the Garou on the set treat you like a dangerous sociopath for carrying around a dueling weapon designed to kill multiple targets at once. I feel that could lead to some interesting role-playing. What kind of person carries that on the person? A dueling weapon designed for dueling 3 people at once.
So then I have another one, and I'm not exactly sure what this says, but again, it is from Hayden. Why can't people have Thunder's Bracers? What is Thunder's Bracers?
Thunder's Bracers is a fetish. It's a Shadow Lord fetish. It's a Shadow Lord fetish that basically kicks people's asses for trying to kick your ass. That's its primary function in a nutshell. It hurts you for trying to hurt them. The reason that you can't have Thunder's Bracers is personal horror. Next question.
Okay, we'll go on from personal horror.
Personal horror. I'm told that personal horror is what we use in One World by Night to explain things that we don't want to explain. Like, why did my character die? They were only 2 weeks old, and all I did was sign into a game, and I died instantly because a meteor fell on me. Well, that's personal horror.
All right. So that actually brings up a little bit more serious question. BaneKlaive had a mass murder last year, known as the King Dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, Rose Town 2013.
Yes.
Hell of a game.
That was a hell of a game.
To be fair, we didn't have that many casualties. Too soon?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Because I know there are some people who lost their characters that are very, very sad, or lost NPCs connected to their characters that were very upset.
Yeah, that was terrible. What happened to them?
Yeah.
Um,
So it actually brings me to a question. Has there ever been any characters in your game that you thought died too soon?
Define too soon. I mean,
well, if you thought that their story wasn't done,
if were there characters whose stories I would have been much more interested in seeing concluding in some way other than, I don't know, getting whacked on the mound by an angry elder or anything like that. Yeah,
sure.
There's been a few. There's been a few deaths that I would take back if I could, but that's not really how it works. Generally, the dead stay that way. I mean, unless there's just an amazing and compelling reason for someone to come back from the dead, or for them to have been secretly alive the whole time, or whatever.
So if you could change a character loss, would you?
There's one or two that I feel if I could have taken them back, I would have.
Like who?
There was this Rufus Aru Ripsworm, played by Sean Bailey. I really wanted to see that character go places and do things. And, his end wasn't... it's not what I would have chosen for him, but that's just how it ended up working out. And it's sad, and I would have liked to have seen more of that character, but, Sean's current character is also very cool, so, it's at least in this case, I didn't lose a player in addition to having to say goodbye to a character. I really liked Lenny.
Yeah.
Calls the crows to... Good God, what was the rest of it? Like, calls the crows to...
Sorry, Fuzzy, I heart you.
...of Gaia's enemies on the second
He's
day.
a Silverfang? We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, the guy's deed name was seriously longer than my small intestine. It went on and on and on and on. It was a complete life story in one deed name. So, calls the crows.
Yeah.
That's what we truncated it to. Or just, Lenny, because you just do that. You just call Silverfangs by their first name. So, right. Prince Chuck. I really liked Lenny. I really thought that Lenny was had some cool story left in him. He was on the cusp of becoming an elder, which I think would have made him our Wyld Prophets' second elder PC.
At the time, yes, he would have been the second elder with... what's that Glasswalker's name?
Franklin
Worthington turns the tide. Was the first elder in your game.
That is correct.
But then he left.
Actually, I don't think he's allowed to be called Turns the Tide anymore. I think he had some kind of spirit deal or something. He's that which redeems now.
Oh, that which redeems. But he's no longer in our game.
No, he transferred up north. The player had a child, and responsibilities at home, making a 200-mile journey to go spend money on a Wyld Prophet Sunday is. I'm not gonna ask a new parent to do that.
Sure. But we have a second elder, played by Justin Quigley, known Benji Lafayette.
Yes.
That just happened.
That did in fact just happen. He successfully failed at being murdered by a Get of Fenris.
Mm-hmm. So, I watched it. I was the master of challenge for that.
Yeah, I almost had him.
Almost.
He had a health level left. So close.
Almost.
I'm actually too nice to kill anyone now. So.
Are you? Because that brings up another question that somebody asked.
Oh, yeah?
What kind of fashion of game will we be expecting this? Should people be prepared to cry their eyes out like last year with the Rosetown 2013? Are we supposed to be expecting mass combat? I know there was an IC event announcement that went out that it's not happening on the Bond.
That is correct. In-character reasons for that being basically that there was some recent pretty vicious fighting on the cairn. The cairn itself, the cairn grounds, the Bond, suffered some damage, and they just don't want people stomping all over it while it's in the delicate process of being repaired and cleansed. No one allowed the cairn to fall in case anyone's interested in coming down and making that claim. The cairn is perfectly intact. The threat never made it to the heart. But there was some very savage fighting there. Some people got their poor little footsies burned pretty bad. So they're celebrating being alive for another summer at a second location, a second secure, very nice, wild-friendly
Good.
where you actually get cell phone reception, which is
Yay!
a dramatic improvement for the Glasswalkers over our care. Where
Wi-Fi in the wigwam.
no Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi in the wigwam.
In the wigwam.
That is correct. So
that actually sounds really horribly offensive without an explanation. So I'm really content to just let that ride.
Okay.
People can ask and find out.
So we'll go back to your staff now. You said that you're a very nice staff member.
Yeah, I'm a really nice guy. I don't really know what the basis of that is. Apparently, it's people have interpreted the fact that I keep having like crappy days of chops for being unwilling to murder them.
Will you ever throw rock again?
Will I ever throw rock again? Every day of my life, I lived rock. I am incredibly rock.
There you go.
The Rock of Ages.
There you go. So, who else is on your staff?
We also have Jules and Everest, the Whaleys. At least I think they share the last name.
Yes.
They're married.
Yes.
That's our other two, and that's actually kind of funny. We have one old guy and two noobs is our storytelling staff. They're learning quickly, but this will be the first BaneKlaive for this staff, and I believe this is actually their second BaneKlaive ever on staff. So
yes,
there's that.
So will you be having any guest STs in?
Yes, actually, I've had a couple of volunteers.
Who will they be?
I believe that Fuzzy volunteered.
Okay.
And Ernest Bluford offered to, he didn't exactly offer.
He told you he was doing it?
No, I cajoled.
Oh.
I pleaded. I may have threatened. But he has graciously agreed to help me wrangle mages. We're having mages, by the way.
Oh!
They're not going to be at the werewolf shindig, but they will be locationally, spatially nearby, having their own kind of little party.
Good to know.
They're apparently someone ran mage-friendly plots at Beltane. And,
yes, they did.
For some reason, something org, something shared universe. Anyway, they want to come to a big werewolf shindig to talk to werewolves, so,
here they are.
I'm happy to oblige them.
Now, there was a lot of cross-genre talk in the past 2 episodes that we had for this event. What is your feeling on cross-genre when it comes to Garou?
It really kind of depends. Vampires exist. They're out there. They're in the werewolf books.
A is for Assamite, B is for Ruha, C is for Caitiff.
Sad.
Go on.
Sad that you did that. Sad. Yeah, so vampires are out there. They're in the werewolf books. They're mentioned. Werewolves and vampires don't really have anything to do with each other. When they do, it's generally either shifty glasswalkers in the back alley dealing with shifty Giovanni or whatever, some things like that. And then every once in a while, the werewolves flip out and raise a city and chase all the vampires screaming into the night and kill everyone that they can find for reasons best understood by werewolves. That's not really going to happen in the org for a variety of reasons. They forgot to give werewolves ages.
Oh.
Yeah,
aren't they just kind of built in with ages?
It's actually funny. There's next to no soak mechanic in Laws of the Wild. It's not really there. They mentioned soaking or unsoakable damage, so we know that theoretically Garou can soak. How exactly that works, I just throw a chop. Survival retest, not in the book. And that's all we got.
Gotcha.
It's one of those moments that you have where you sometimes wonder about White Wolf.
If you are hearing those noises, we are getting questions coming in from our viewers right now. I will save them for the end because we do have kind of a queue going on, just so you know. Let's move on to some of them. You mentioned that we are doing this outside the Bond. It's where?
It will be at Camp Wyandotte, which is actually within walking distance of the Bond. The Bond is in character. Its location is Clearwater Metro Park.
Which is an actual metro park down in Hocking Hills, Ohio.
It's lovely. We did field trips there when we were first starting the game.
So this is another question that we have in here. Why do we have to hang around the woods like a bunch of dirty hippies?
The answer to that is actually that some werewolves are not citizens.
Ah, okay.
For example, there's this guy, Shea Guarva Gutierrez, something like that. Anyway, there's this Mexican shadow lord, and I plan on running an ID squad for him in the very near future. Very near future. I've been watching a lot of Border Wars. Got some serious.
Now that brings up a question that I have from you running personal scenes for me and everything. You are very theatrical when you write your.
Oh.
You're very theatrical when you write your scenes. I remember the very first scene that I ran with you, or I'm sorry, you ran for me.
Was that the one where I made you throw up?
Yes.
I may have done that.
Yeah, I got very ill given your description. So
not sorry. Personal horror.
Yeah, personal horror.
Personal horror means I don't have to feel bad about any of the things I do.
Sure, we'll go with that. So, but you're very weird.
There's a certain amount of sociopathy to be a storyteller, I find.
So, where do you come up with your ideas?
The funny thing is, for a long time on the staff, I was what we kind of refer to as the wild card ST.
Yeah.
My job was to find players who didn't look like they were having a good time and terrify them into silence.
Because that's what you need.
Yeah, it's basically, the funny thing is that I really don't plan the vast majority of my scenes ahead of time. I kind of run everything off the cuff, really.
So what about plots? Do you plan out plots?
Only a certain amount. There are kind of keynotes that I want to hit, like I want there to be this kind of encounter or that kind of encounter. But other than that, I actually just kind of make things up as I'm going along. The good news is that a lot of players don't bother to throw chops at any of the things I'm describing to them because they're too busy trying to figure out what the hell is happening to them. About the second or third time that you describe a garbage bag with mouths rolling out of a closet at them, they just forget to throw chops. It's weird. Every once in a while you'll get a guy who wants to throw chops at everything, and then eventually a telephone assaults him.
Yeah.
That happened.
So, well,
a valuable lesson was learned.
Just a little bit. Now, will there be any major plots? I know some people are expecting a lot of plots to be run this weekend.
There is a plot.
Yeah.
There is a plot for BaneKlaive. I don't want to spoil it for you, but there is a plot. It's there. I totally have notes and everything. They're in my other pants. I didn't bring them with me. I wasn't expecting to talk about them. I'm kind of shy, actually. No, there is a plot, but to be completely honest, it's not the kind of plot that's going to come and murder you in your sleep if you don't take active part in it. It's not coming to you. It'll be there. It'll make noises. It'll wave its hands, try and get your attention. You can go poke it if you want to. If you poke it, it'll poke back. It'll be very exciting.
So. Okay, then I have this question because because this was posed quite a few times when it came to the other episodes, is that how do you balance local plot with national plot? Will there be national plot run, or have you worked with any?
In terms of national plot, I've had natural plot. No, wait, I've fucked it up.
Keep going.
Can I go?
Yeah.
So in terms of national plot. Look, man, I'm a talking cat. What do you want from me? In terms of national plot, there's been a lot of talk of this, werewolf space fleet, the Umbrella Armada.
Yes.
So yeah, there's interested parties in that. Actually, the Glasswalker Elder we mentioned before, Franklin Worthington.
Yes.
Is having something of a symposium at the house of a Glasswalker Elder NPC on the subject of this armada, its formation, and is duly appointing himself admiral. I don't really think that was voted for or anything. He just sort of decided he was admiral. So I kind of hope that there will be some yelling and throwing of chairs over that.
That's an IC thing. It'll be fun to watch.
And we've got a couple of TNs, and there's that guy who's nominally in charge of changing breed.
Yeah.
What do we call it?
Doesn't he play a couple elders?
A couple. That's actually
true.
Wow.
He plays 2 elders. Apparently now they're shelved. Well, at least one of them is.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Justin Quigley, the changing breeds court.
Yeah, so it's possible that there will be some tribal plots that will come running out of the darkness.
Will there be tribal events? I know Crystal Spires, the Black Fury TN, is planning a meeting. Has any other TNs, Anya, will be?
I fully plan on Anya doing something kind of mysterious and Silent Strider related. But Silent Striders are always mysterious and kind of murky and in the dark. But I assume that the Wandering Tribe will want to gather when they're all in one place.
You were the Silent Strider.
I was, in fact. I briefly held that title, yes, or that sort of Damocles thing.
Are you happy that she has taken over?
If it was going to be anybody, it was going to be, probably the longest running Silent Strider player I know. And I'm sure there's some guy out there in the audience now who's like, I was playing a Silent Strider back when there were actual pyramids being raised. My first character was in 1804. But, she's the longest running Silent Strider PC that I know of, personally. So, if it was going to be anybody, it was going to be somebody who's been playing Silent Striders for a long time and really loves Silent Striders, and sent the bulk of the emails about Silent Striders that I had to answer. She actually sent me one recently asking about some prophecy that's in the Silent Strider packet.
Oh!
The prophecy actually turned out to be a typo, so that's been fixed. All it said in the packet was the prophecy of, Nephis, and to go see the tribe book about it. There's no prophecy of Nephis in any tribe book.
Oops.
Turns out that was actually, I think, a typo. I think we misspelled her name at some point in the past when we were putting back the tribe book, or the tribal packet together. So she may be quoting the prophecy there, and I'm sure at some point she'll want to do something with it.
If there are TNs that want to have a tribal meeting, who should they contact?
Us.
How can people get a hold of you?
Well, we have an email address.
Yeah.
It's really long, and I can't remember it. It's something like wildsts@googlegroups.com.
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. That's us. You can get an email us there. We also have a Facebook group for the Wyld Prophets game, and we have a forum, which, if you want to stop by and visit the cairn when we're not having an event game, that's generally how you do it if you don't want to drive all the way to Columbus.
Bringing that up, we actually have a question from the audience that says, do you think that the public forums, such as Facebook groups or ICOOC list boards, help build hype for the game and the genre at large, or do they do more harm than good?
God, there's times when I just kind of oscillate back and forth. There are times where I'm like, oh God, how are these werewolves even talking to each other from 400 miles? Bird spirits? A bird is just, it's on the wind. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, all right, Pocahontas, you're out there in the woods screaming into the wind, and some guy in California is mad about it. That's fine. That's great. And, there have been times in the past where I've said the last thing that garu need is in a way of instantaneously speaking to one another, because pretty much every conversation ends with fight IRL, bro. But, at the same time, we have this org, and nominally we're supposed to all be playing together.
Shared universe?
Yeah, whatever. And, they can't do that if they've never spoken to one another before. And, I get there. It's a part of Werewolf that you show up at a stranger's sept and they throw rocks at you. That's part of Werewolf. That's how. It's almost as if the Silent Striders used to have a merit that let them come and go between cairns without being molested because they were in my day.
Yeah.
But get off my lawn! Get off my pawn, you ass!
Yeah.
So yeah, it exists. The communications networks exist. There's no taking it back. The Glasswalkers have set up the internet. You all know how to type. Your characters all know how to type. There are lupuses on the internet.
There are.
God help us all. Moon has a webpage. Whatever. Werewolves on Facebook. It's there.
We're looking at you, Moon.
We are no longer in the 1990s when this game was written. And I think we all just kind of have to come to terms with the fact that we're no longer in the 1990s when this game was written, and werewolves have smartphones.
This is true. Now, you mentioned going off of this is not in the 1990s. What red, fiery ball in the sky, apocalypse?
Yeah, what about that?
Anytime now.
Yeah. If we don't adopt the mechanics of the 20th anniversary edition of Werewolf, which is actually the 17th anniversary edition, I think. But whatever, W20. We all know it as W20. When I say W20, everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? Right?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So W20 has apparently some patches for the fact that the plot no longer works, and hasn't worked since about 1999.
Oh.
I do believe that Werewolf bought very heavily into the idea that the world would just go on the year 2000. So Y2K didn't happen 14 years ago.
Right.
So that's 14 years overdue for a new king. We're 14 years overdue for the red star in the sky eating us all.
Now, the CBC has said that there is nothing in there about a 7-year...
No, there's not.
Okay.
That's one of those things that all Werewolf players know.
Yeah.
And that was totally in sarcastic air quotes, if that wasn't completely clear.
Oh. No, the CBC has said that there was no 7-year reign, that King Albrecht is on there.
King Albrecht is on the throne until someone can pry him off.
Do you think a PC should be king?
No, absolutely not.
There you go.
I have enough trouble accepting PC elders. I have enough trouble accepting PCs being allowed to leave their homes. PCs have the internet now. It freaks me out. I don't want them talking to each other. I don't want them getting ideas. I don't want them going, hey, did you hear about that asshole in Columbus and that plot he ran? No, the other one.
Oh, okay.
No, the other asshole.
Well,
the cat. Did you hear about what the cat did? And I say to them, meow.
You have a very strong opinion.
No. I'm actually pretty moderate. Conservative game.
Yeah.
Yelling at empty chairs.
This is...
Old man yells at clowns.
These two questions come from players as well. It is easier for a Ragamash and Alrune to rank than the other three auspices, Galliards, Phylodox, and Theurgist. What do you do to mitigate this?
You know what? It's going to sound like really dickish, but nothing. There's a reason why I don't do anything to mitigate that. And it actually kind of boils down to two things. One, we really don't have that many PC Galliards.
No.
No one wants to play them.
I do.
Well, great for you. No, not that many people really want to play Galliards, and the ones that do are really super into it. Unfortunately, we actually kind of have this. It's happened so often it's become something that characters talk about in character, that the Sept of Whispered Oaths, the home Sept of my Chronicle, has a curse that kills its Galliards. They just die all the time. We get Galliards and they die or they disappear.
They leave.
Yeah. They're not allowed to stay in the area. It's not really anything that the staff is doing. Galliard players just tend to be the ones that die in combat a lot. I don't really, or move, or transfer to another Chronicle. I have no idea why that is. It could be me.
No, it's not a problem. So going forward on that,
I considered.
You have
okay. I have considered fixes for it, but it's really hard to do. It's not an easy fix. It's a flaw that's kind of inherent to the way the entire renown system works, and that's an entire house of cards that messing with can get you into a lot of trouble very quickly, and that's when you end up with your 6-month elder.
Yes. So in that we talked about how your game is conservative compared to others. How long should it take should it actually take a proactive PC to advance between ranks.
We're talking about that Ragabash that's bucking for fostering because he has a rank challenge. He can stop complaining now.
Well, this is one that, for instance, my phylodox, after almost 3 years, has just made Adrian. So
didn't you get busted down a couple of times?
No.
Was that no?
No.
No. Did you almost get busted down a couple of times?
No.
Is your renown a shambles?
No.
Your renown a shambles. How would you know? I'm the one that keeps the books.
Because I just made Adrian.
Yeah, well, your renown was a shambles. How about that? How about that? Why don't you stop blaming me? Why don't you look at yourself? Take a look at the man in the mirror.
But honestly, we have these games.
The thing is that there's a lot of these weird, arbitrary, like, time limit X, 6 months, 14 days, 3 hours, 2 minutes, and then you can be ready. And it's all arbitrary. It's all there as storytellers attempting to deal with the fact that people just accumulate rank really quickly. You accumulate XP quickly, you accumulate rank really quickly. Welcome to the org, I guess. If you're new to the org, it's gonna be a really scary ride for you for the first year or two. You're probably gonna be confused, frightened a lot. And I'm not gonna help.
No.
I'm just gonna confuse and frighten you more. Now, the thing is that we try to kind of space it out a little bit because, again, you've been a garu for 2 years, and now you're an elder. Wow, like that's the most meteoric climb. Like that blows away anybody in the books. Like they're talking about like, oh, this Silver Fang chick, this canon NPC has, a meteoric climb. Oh, shockingly fast. It's only taken her 7 years to become an Aethro. Wow, that's insanely fast. Holy crap. She'll probably die any day now. But
in the org we have 3 year.
In the org we have 6-month elder.
Yeah.
I really don't know that 6-month elder has ever actually happened.
No, because we have time limits in place for that.
Yeah, that's my exaggeration for dramatic effect there.
Do you think that these time limits should be there?
Well, you have 2 options. You can indulge in what I can only describe as the most tedious bookkeeping known to LARPing. Renown is nitpicky. It requires a lot of paperwork. It requires constant vigilance from your STs. And it requires those galliards that no one wants to play showing up and being like, hey, did you hear about this guy? He did all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that we have a mailing list, or I have absolutely no idea what I was talking about. So your options basically are you can either do what I kind of feel like a lot of games do, and I'm not throwing shade here. Like I said, it's a tedious, nitpicky process. They kind of look at your renown and go, well, yeah, he was in that real big fight 6 months ago. And recently, he successfully punched out the Sept Alpha, and he's got all these positions and stuff. He's probably ready to get playoff now. So,
wow, Cub did that.
Ask yourself something: would you really be surprised if they did?
No.
So there's some people out there with some baller chops. I said baller here for you. This interview's officially about a talking cat.
It is. It really is. We have a question from the audience. It comes from Ernest.
Oh, good Lord.
And he says, I need my chops. Do you know what that means?
Yes, actually. It means that he will be throwing fists at me come BaneKlaive. It's not going to matter what about.
He's just going to do it?
He's going to need his chops. He needs them.
All right.
He's going to get his chops. He has to have combat. He needs it. He can't live without constant strife.
This is true.
That's why I put him in charge of the most warlike of races, the mages. Well known for their combat ferocity.
For the people there may be people who have never played Garu that are coming to our game. Do you have any? And I won't say NPCs. Do you have any mock-up sheets for them?
We tend to keep a kind of a handful of prefab sheets on hand. It's just one of those things that we take care of in the days leading up to BaneKlaive. We don't go into Grapevine and hit the random button because that gets ugly really fast. You end up with guys with like 2 physical traits.
Yeah.
Both of which are negatives from Sabat. It gets ugly really fast, but we do kind of go in and kind of assemble sort of thematically appropriate sheets. A couple of times in the past, we've actually had people like ask if they could keep their pre-made sheets as a PC, and really, I actually honestly don't have a problem with that. Like, if I hand you a
Character sheet.
if I hand you a 753 and go forth and play, and you're like, hey, can I keep this and keep coming to your game? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Great, love to have you.
Well,
more attendance, more happy.
You did mention Sabat. Will Sabat or Cam vampire characters? Mage is coming, so will other?
I will be happy to have your changelings, your mages, your guys that can go out in daylight without incinerating instantly. The guys that werewolves won't necessarily want to immediately rip the heads off of as soon as they show up, because I'm not going to lie to you. Supervising PvP shops is like right above paying site fees on my list of things that I really love doing as a storyteller.
Gotcha.
I'm not really interested in going to vampire versus werewolf PvP shops. I'm just not. Sorry. I mean, they have perfectly good event games. If they want to come play werewolf, I'll help them make a sheet. Exciting. They can come play werewolf.
So, but on the flip side, because there was one.
Oh, where the werewolves that went to the cam game and
because of a particular elder.
Yeah.
So what happens?
When that happens?
Yeah. Because the last time, now how it was run, from an out-of-character point of view, I had a lot of fun in character meeting those vampires and talking to them. It was really interesting dichotomy to go through. But when I came back to start the next game,
there were a lot of people who were a little salty with you, perhaps.
Just a little bit. And then
were any of them were storytellers?
Yes. Yes, and I was told by the storytelling staff that when you got back, this is how you actually felt. Now, I played that. Some didn't, but I played that off.
Look, if you want to sign into the vampire games, I mean, I guess go for it. I mean, you're in the same war. I don't want to have vampires signing into my game because I'm not necessarily running my game at night.
Okay. What about possession?
Yeah, I guess that's in the book.
Yeah.
Look, if you really, absolutely, desperately, honestly think that you can find a werewolf game and that the NPC guardians do not immediately rip you to pieces and then I take your sheet away from you and you're sad and angry with me, yeah, again, it's not really something I'm interested in running. I'm not really interested in spending a lot of time sitting at a desk asking vampire players how the hell they even found a gathering of werewolves. More importantly, because I'm not really interested in all the incredibly detailed ways in which they're going to tell me that they're absolutely perfectly capable of finding werewolves anytime they want to. They have several in their Rolodex. Here are some item cards for my werewolf possession suit. It's actually a Vist human, and yeah, there's probably a path of thumb for that, but I don't.
There's a path of thumb for everything. So speaking of thumb,
yeah, what? Why is there a question about thaumaturgy?
There is not a question about thaumaturgy, but there is a question about dark theurges. Interesting counterpoint, or wannabe vampire blood magicians?
All right. Now, I know that there's a couple of people in the audience that are really expecting me to just blow my top during this interview. Like, I'm going to flip out, I'm going to flip the table, I'm going to take a hatchet to the wall, I'm going to rip my shirt off. I'm going to go completely cat shit over here about this.
Nice pun.
Thank you. That's why they pay me absolutely nothing. That's why I pay to be here. The truth is, this whole dark theurge thing, God, if that's the character you want to play, I guess go for it. I really hope your team believe that spirit chimnage is a thing, that spirit notoriety goes on your sheet, and that they have some kind of mechanic in place for regularly punishing you for how you behave. Honestly, I would love to see the guy with massive spirit notoriety get told by a pack cuddle to go fuck himself. Being chased off Karen by a Karen, told him that no longer wants to support him because he can't conduct himself in a civilized fashion with the allies that have agreed to assist him.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I understand that the concept of the Dark Theurge is the guy, like, in the freaking, like, Bruce Wayne, like, as Batman, it's like the Christian Bale that, I don't heal! Ugh, I kill people! Where is she? I'm Batman! The Dark Theurge! What the fuck good are you?
Yeah.
The Garu are a warrior race. They kill people. They're
This
not
is true.
nice. Even the children of Gaia are not particularly nice.
Yeah,
they had a whole camp full of peaceniks that were like, God, can we just get along with the worm? And they murdered them. All of them.
This is true.
They hunted them down and beat them to death with sticks.
My child of Gaia, some think, allowed another phylodox to die while in the atrocity realm.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Garu are just not very nice people. They have this, like, rage thing. They suffer from a genocidal hubris that has not been seen since, I don't know, Hitler. They regularly kill things for smelling funny. A werewolf will probably key your car for absolutely no reason. They're jerks. They're a species of jerks. And if your character concept is, I'm an especially jerky jerk, yeah, sure, I guess we need a special term for I'm an especially jerky jerk.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend points on healing gifts because I'm really dark and what? Like, seriously, whatever. I don't understand what a light theurge is. I guess a light theurge is one that behaves as though they were a theurge. What is a dark theurge a counterpoint to?
Gotcha. I'm
an especially jerky jerk. Like, that's all I hear when people say dark theurge to me. I mean, I'm hoping a whole bunch of them visit me for BaneKlaive and like check out my awesome character concept. Like, wow, I'm completely ashamed of how I called you Christian Bale Batman.
Well, we've got some questions from the audience. Again, from Ernest, that asks, what will we see in terms of plot geared towards visitor interaction this year?
Visitor interact like with each other, or with me, or with the locals? Sure. The funny thing is that mass combat is like actually the only thing in the game that's so terrible that people actively shy away from it and at the same time pursue it. The chops are the quick time event of LARP. They're that shitty thing that comes along and interrupts your fun. And you go, oh god, I gotta quick throw scissors. Shit, he threw oh god, he threw a rock. I gotta start the whole sequence over again. Game over. Oh, shit. Retest. And I'm like, no, I hate that. I hate chops. I'm not gonna lie to you. If everyone could get together in one place and like role play with each other, that would be super. And I would love to facilitate for them. I would love to run a plot where like the only chops that get thrown are like against me.
Cool.
Like investigative chops. Like, I've got lores. What's that moon rock? Why is it talking?
He follows up with, will we be looking at the same usual interaction Friday, ramping up Sunday, kill 'em all Sunday flow of game?
Probably not. Believe it or not, that whole weird rising action thing that happens, not to shirk blame or anything. It's actually the players who do that. They spend a day or two suiting up, and then they go out and they fight a dragon.
Yeah.
Once or twice, specifically the dragon. Totally our fault. We did that. We decided it was going to be a crescendo event. No dragons.
Okay, no dragons. For all of you wondering, no dragons. Now,
evil scarecrows. I actually have evil scarecrows we work on them all week. They're really cool. They do a lot of damage. A lot of them.
Okay, well then that brings me to my next question. It comes from Addie in Chicago. What up, out-of-town players?
Hi, Addie from Chicago.
Is BaneKlaive going to force people on a plot to train as it has every previous year?
No. Like I said, the plot's there. If you want it, go get it. If you don't, whatever. I'll run it for my players next Sunday.
Cool. Going back to some of our local player questions, and back to people who may come in, we have a question here. How do you feel about players played with accents or augmented speech patterns? We have two pretty prominent ones that
we have Chain Gang Chuck, also known as What, and
Yes.
we had Gabrielle,
Yes.
the most infuriatingly French person to ever cause every German molecule of my blood to want to go and burn down Paris. I was like, oh man, I feel like a backstab legend coming on. Somebody's going down for this. You guys want to do a funny accent or a cool accent or an interesting accent, whatever. It's costuming. It's costuming as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think it hinders or helps?
A lot of the most entertaining roleplay I've gotten out of Chin Gang Chuck has been watching the incredibly creative interpretations of his broken jaw mumbling that his pack, like no two of them translate his rambling the same. Some will have a very direct approach to, well, he probably wants to set something on fire because he's in the room, his arm's on fire all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then some are like, well, and Chin Gang suggesting that we can sneak around the back because his own arm is shifting. He's like, how many crits for a cabin? And no one knows what the hell he's saying. And then, of course, they go into the pack mind link, and he's just got a goofy, Hilljack accent. And it's like, oh, wow, you're totally intelligible now. You sound vaguely inbred, but, that's not really a drawback for a werewolf. Being inbred for a werewolf is just it's awesome.
That means pure breed.
Yeah.
Ask the Silverfangs.
Yeah, most Silverfangs, if they were any more inbred, they'd be a fucking sandwich. And... You know what, Benji? I was just wondering, Benji, why are you in charge? And Benji's in the back going, my family tree's a wreath.
It is. I helped build it.
And then I married my cousin, my cousin, Pierre. What is your cousin's name? Pierre.
I don't think that's ever come out of his mouth, but I'm sure that he may adopt it now.
It'll be one of his ancestors.
Yeah.
Pierre, right up there with barbed wire and I don't even remember what the other one was. The one that sticks out in my mind most of all is barbed wire Lafayette. He just names them for whatever retest or information he's getting from them.
Yep.
Spanish Lafayette. One of my ancestors probably spoke Spanish.
Probably.
I gotta get a shot for that. Yeah, sure, whatever, Justin. You can get a shot for that.
Okay.
Whatever facilitates the scene moving along, bro.
Moving on.
That's just a hairball.
That is a hairball. To turn in, because we've gone for almost an hour. Awesome.
Excited.
Yay.
Drinking today. What's up?
So, speaking of drinking,
are we?
Wyld Prophets has always had a no drinking at game rule at BaneKlaive. Will that be lifted?
As it turns out, the hotel does not want us walking around with open containers.
As it has been explained, no open,
or anything that can be recognized as alcohol from a distance.
Yeah.
So it has been argued that does not mean opaque containers. So if you guys want to walk around with your Mountain Dew cup from Taco Bell full of fucking riot juice, I guess I can't stop you. Having had incredibly inebriated players in the past, that's where that policy came from. We did not have that policy the first time we ran BaneKlaive, and I had to escort 3 players off the game site because one was falling down drunk, one was vomiting on herself, and the other one was belligerent. So I'm not going to go into who those players were because all times were crimes. Also, at least one of them I've never seen again, so
gotcha.
It doesn't really matter. I'm sure they're all vomiting at someone else's werewolf event even as we speak. Non-clave work.
When is the last... now, the deadline to turn in sheets was yesterday.
That is correct. And we got some. We got a bunch of sheets. We got, whole Gexes from other games.
Yeah!
And that was really exciting. About those sheets. Look, if you didn't send your sheet in on time or your storyteller decided not to send them, because that happens, literally
every time.
Every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. We have
I
like
think
eight
I think you need to go.
every year.
There you go.
Storytellers. There are some poor bastard standing in line going, I play Lord Mardigan Farfignugan from the Sept of the Holy Frickin' Canada, and I know you've never heard of me, and I can tell by your blank looks that my storyteller who is in line behind me let me go choke slam him real quick. And that happens every year.
It does.
Every
I've
year.
seen it.
Hey, did you guys see my item cards?
Yeah, how?
No. No, we did not. Fascinating.
Would you rather those that may have forgotten to send them in, or
Look,
life came up, send them in before they get to...
Yeah, send us your character sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Just send the character sheets. Here's the deal. If you did not get them in on time, I cannot guarantee that anything that is not from core will be on your character sheets when you arrive. If you've got some jive-ass freaking Wild West ritual or some Dark Ages crap on your character sheet, or friggin' homebrew totems, unless you append a write-up into the email, I have no guarantees that you're going to be seeing anything but some weird red text on the character sheet come BaneKlaive.
That's legit.
And that's a harsh line, but I got 3 storytellers, and I don't know how many people are coming. You outnumber me, so
We're so happy to have you. We're so happy to have all the visitors.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes. See the sincerity beaming from my face. No, actually, I'm thrilled to have you guys every year. I really am. After BaneKlaive, I'm always like, wow, that was really cool. Those guys visited. Before BaneKlaive, I'm like, oh, there will be a reckoning. There will be. What is this staff? What is this? This item card. It's for a staff. It does. I can't read this. I actually had somebody bring me a 4-page item card one year.
How does that happen? If it doesn't fit on the item card, it doesn't fit.
Oh? Is that how that works?
That's how I always interpreted
no,
it.
actually, the infamous gigantic item card, which, because it was sent to us, kind of, it was scanned and emailed to us, but the pieces were not in order, which resulted in some sleep-deprived storytellers losing their minds as I attempted to decode this thing. And it's actually, it was a Chicago player. It was a Magic car axle, I think. And it had a lot of descriptive text. Like it went on for a while. It was very intricate. A very cool item card. It has kind of like this roulette effect where you don't know which of the 3 spirits bound to it will be.
Is this a Glasswalker or Silverfang?
Bone Gnar.
Oh, Bone Gnar. Oh!
What Silverfang is cruising around with a car axle? Did I meet that? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
It's off his truck, which is on cinder blocks in front of the mansion. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. No, this was not King Flannel.
Okay.
This was, I want to say, a Bone Gnar. And the text was all scrambled up, so we had no idea what it said, which led to, it ended up being something like, I was reading it aloud, and I was like, if user falls down, a spirit is decased, or the user is decased, spirits go home. Like, I had no idea what I was looking at. We eventually unscrambled the tiles, and we were like, there's a taboo on them. The owner dies, the fetish breaks. And you passed on it. Oh, okay. Spirits go home. So, like, for the rest of the event, I would just, like, randomly, like, if somebody asked me a question, like, spirits go home.
I think that's a pretty valid
Why can't
question.
I have a Thunder's? Oh, why can't I have Thunder's bracers? Spirits go home. Personal horror.
So there's been a lot of concern, and
it's growing.
Yes, there's been a lot of concern that Wyld Prophets will not be hosting BaneKlaive next year, or BaneKlaive will not happen next year.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The position that my game is in is a little precarious. I don't even have to I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're poor. We are some poor-ass storytellers, and running this game is not exactly a cheap proposition. I'm not going to go into facts and figures because that's crass, but basically it costs us money. There are some zeros involved. Pretty much anytime we don't have maximum capacity on a BaneKlaive, or not a BaneKlaive, but a Wyld Prophets Sunday, we do not make enough money to run the game the next session, and that means the remainder has to come out of the storyteller's pockets. Otherwise, there's no game, and if there's no game, then we don't have. So, yeah, it's fair to say that there is some jeopardy involved, but basically that's a year away. I don't know where we're going to be in a year. I don't know if if a great opportunity is going to open up in a year, or what's going to happen in that particular period of time.
If a game came to you, say Eerie Moon, pretty prevalent game up in Cleveland, said we want to run BaneKlaive next year, would you allow them to do that?
I would be very interested in sitting down with the other chronicles of the state and having a conversation about sharing time, sharing staff. I want to move to a place as a chronicle in one world where at the very least I'm on good terms with the other two games in my state. Yeah, they're 200 miles away, but
Ohio's a very close-knit group.
Well, we've got 3 werewolf chronicles, and I feel like maybe it would be kind of a cool idea if we as staffs talk to each other once in a while. I'm really, I'm looking in the future to share plots with the other 2 chronicles, have multiple chronicle plots. Once I find out whether or not that's going to make the board,
light up.
That's way nicer than what I was going to say. I was going to say collectively take 2 shits and die, but yeah, I don't want to give anybody a freaking hernia because 3 games are sharing a plot in a flyover state or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't want that to be a thing, but it's the orc, so it could be a thing. There's no telling. Someone might get mad because I said, because I said the orc might take 2 shits and die. Somebody might be furious right now.
Crystal Spires is one of our viewers. She's the HST of Eerie Moon and as I mentioned earlier, the Black Fury TN. She
sent her sheets this year.
She did send her sheets this year. It was
novel.
She said, "Let's share Liebling."
Let's share Liebling.
We can share.
Oh, good.
What's Liebling?
That's German. The term in German. It's like sweetheart.
Aww.
Diminutive form of love. It doesn't really translate directly. It's like sweetheart.
Okay. Well, that's so nice. She's already talking to you. This show brings STs together.
That's it. Great.
So, all right.
I tell you what, I get nervous.
No respect. All right. Well, we've got 2 more questions here.
Excellent.
One of them is, what's the over/under of you flipping a table at BaneKlaive?
I'm gonna go right now. I'm about 75 for 25 against. That's gonna level out to about 50-50 on Sunday.
Yep.
So there's a possibility there may be some furniture acrobatic in the course of this event game.
Gotcha. And
last year I ripped off my shirt and screamed atonally at a wall for 2 hours. So
that is what I remember you hearing. Hearing that. And now
I think screamed at you in an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Yes.
For about 20 or 30 minutes.
What was that character's name?
That's my Get a Fenris concept, Austrian Death Machine.
Austrian Death Machine.
So yeah. That could be a thing.
All right. Well, the last question is going to finish this off. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into AMA for our special Grand Elysium BaneKlaive series. This was part 3 with Stephen H., the head storyteller of Wyld Prophets. And so I want to thank you all. It again is next week, starting on Thursday, going through Sunday. It's the 3rd through the 6th. Wyld Prophets will be running Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm going to let him say goodbye as I ask this one question. What is the sound that Laura Flynn Boyle makes?
That's as close to it as I can approximate.
What? How'd that go?
She wants your iron ashes. She wants them really bad.
Okay. Again,
She hasn't eaten since season 1. What's wrong? She just had a salad and a piece of pizza and never see her eat again.
there you go. Well, again,
Fucked up.
thank you so much for tuning in. This has been AMA, and I am your marketing subcord, Lea Love. Have a great night.
Meow.